وعلى سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. Inshallah, in today's Seerah, we're continuing with the special night journey and the ascension to the heavens, Al-Israa Wal-Mi'raaj. Now, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Jibreel alayhi salam, they have passed all 7 skies, all 7 heavens, and now they have reached a place called Sidratul Muntaha. The narration continues, Yuntaha ilayha kullu ahadin min ummatika khala ala sabilika. That the Prophet ﷺ was told that each and every single one of your ummah that strive to stay on the righteous path, their souls will walk on Sidratul Muntaha. وَإِذَا فِي أَصْلِهَا أَرْبَعَةُ أَنْهَارٍ. And there were 4 rivers flowing from Sidratul Muntaha. نَهْرَانِ بَاطِنَانِ وَنَهْرَانِ ظَاهِرًا. 2 rivers were sort of hidden, you couldn't see clearly, and 2 rivers were more on top, like within view. And then the Prophet ﷺ asked Jibreel alayhi salam that what is this? He's seeing 4 rivers, he's seeing different things. So then Jibreel alayhi salam, he explains, and this is also in Surah Muhammad in ayat number 15, it explains this as well, that فيها أنهار من ماء غير آسن وأنهار من لبن لم يتغير طعمه وأنهار من خمر لذة للشاربين وأنهار من عسل مصفى. That first, the 2 rivers that are flowing from underneath, these rivers go into Jannah, they go into paradise, and all this becomes all the water of paradise. And they are rivers of pure water, milk, honey, and wine that doesn't intoxicate. And the 2 rivers on top of the ground are all the water that Allah sends down to earth. There's really interesting things here. فَإِذَا فِي أَصْلِهَا عَيْنٌ تَجْرِي. In another narration, it explained that there's a spring gushing forth from Sidratul Muntaha, and this is called the spring of Salsabil. That يَنْشَقُهُ مِنْهَا نَهْرَانِ, which splits into 2 different streams. One of them is the river of Rahmah, of mercy, and one is the fountain of Kawthar. Kawthar means abundance. عَلَيْهِ خِيَامُ اللُّؤْلُؤُ وَالْيَاقُوتُ وَالزَّبَرْدَجِ. And above the water, gushing forth from Kawthar, there is a tent. And this tent is adorned with all these pearls and rubies and diamonds and different types of gems. وَعَلَيْهِ طيور خضر أنعم الطير. That there were beautiful green birds which are perched on top of this tent or on top of this dome. رأى فيه آنية الذهب والفضة. They were on top. Then there were cups which were made of gold, cups which were made of silver, all surrounding this fountain. And then the bottom of the fountain had rubies and emeralds designing the floor, which could be seen because the water was described as really white, like ashaddu bayat. So you can see through, like sometimes we see rivers and you can see all the stones and things at the bottom. So he's looking through this pure water and he's seeing on the floor designed with emeralds and rubies, etc. فَأَخَذَ مِنْهَا آنِيَةً. So the Prophet ﷺ, he picked up one of the goblets. فَاغْتَرَفَ مِنْ ذَلِكَ الْمَاءِ. He scooped some of the water from Al-Kawthar. فَشَرِبَ. And he drank some of this special water. فَإِذَا هُوَ أَحْلَى مِنْ عَسَلٍ. So now he's describing how did the water taste. The Prophet ﷺ said the water was sweeter than honey. وَأَشَدُّ رِيحًا مِنَ الْمِسْكِ. And it had a sweeter fragrance than musk. So it tasted so sweet, more sweeter than honey, and it smelt better than the best fragrance. And at that time, Jibreel alayhi salam, he is watching this, and then finally he says to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, هَذَا هُوَ النَّهْرُ الَّذِي حَبَّاكَ بِهِ رَبُّكَ. That this is the river that your Lord has given to you as a gift. وَنَهْرٌ آخر نهر الرحمن فاغتسل فيه. Rahmah فاغتسل فيه. And after drinking from Kawthar, the Prophet ﷺ is told that the other stream of Rahmah, you can wash yourself in this, like bathe yourself in this stream. So the Prophet ﷺ, then he heard an announcement that فَغُفِرَ لَهُ مَا تَقَدَّمَ مِنْ ذَنْبِ وَمَا تَأَخَّرَ. Meaning by bathing in this river of Rahmah, all of his sins meaning hypothetically, we know the Prophet ﷺ, Allah protected him from evils and sins, but meaning that everything that he could have committed in the past or in the future, anyone who washes themselves in this river of Rahmah, all the sins will be washed away. So just to pause here, we know Al-Kawthar, those who have studied the commentary of Al-Kawthar. Al-Kawthar is a special, something really special, which Allah Ta'ala revealed this surah after one of his infant son passed away. Not only was it difficult, like the grief of his son passing away, the Quraysh and those enemies, they took this chance to exploit this tragedy, and they used to mock him, and they used to say he is abtar, his lineage is cut off, no one is going to be continuing his legacy. So then this is why Surah Kawthar was revealed. Allah sent this river as a gift to cheer him up. So Al-Kawthar originates from the word kathura, abundance. So what would happen is the people, they would say terrible things. Literally, his son just passed away. People are laughing, people are singing, they're mocking him, and they're saying you're abtar, meaning you're cut off. But then Allah Ta'ala in Surah Kawthar, Inna shani'aka huwal abtar, is saying, no, these people are actually abtar. They are cut off. Because when these people, these enemies, all these Quraysh, they passed away, and nobody's thinking of them, nobody's praising them, no legacy of theirs continued, so they really got cut off. But it's actually Allah is comforts the Prophet ﷺ that not only is giving Kawthar, but Kathura, meaning abundance, that he's the most, even like the name Muhammad, the most popular name in the world. Like everybody's naming their children Muhammad, everybody's praising Muhammad. Every time the adhan is said, we have to praise Muhammad. In salah, we're praising Muhammad. Every time his name is mentioned, we send salat and salam upon him. So this is such a miracle that they tried to make him feel bad, upset him, and mock him, saying, your legacy is cut off. Allah did the complete opposite. Those people are forgotten about. The Prophet was gifted Kawthar and gifted the fact that he's the most famous, most praised, most mentioned person in the world. So the Prophet ﷺ himself, he will have the pleasure, like it will be honor for him on the Day of Judgment. He'll be standing at the river or this fountain of Kawthar, and he will be scooping this water out himself with these special goblets, and he will be, his followers, the Ummah, we inshallah will be amongst them, will be coming to him, and he will be feeding us and giving us this water to drink. The Prophet ﷺ, he said in a narration that if you face any difficulty on the Day of Judgment, look for me at 3 places. And one of those places, he said, I will be at the fountain of Kawthar. I'll be waiting there. You will be exhausted and fatigued from the trial and tribulations of Qiyamah, but I will be waiting at the fountain of Kawthar with a drink of water that will make you forget the most severe of thirst. And when you drink from Al-Kawthar, you will never be thirsty again. So the Prophet ﷺ is such a compassionate, such a merciful Nabi, that this opportunity is a gift for him. He will cherish this moment, that he has an opportunity to be there and serve us this water from Al-Kawthar. So the Prophet ﷺ, again and again we've mentioned, Allah is showing him all these special gifts and all these things, because this is such a difficult moment in his life. After sacrifice is going through, and now Allah is showing him, don't worry, everything you've done, every loss you have, it has a purpose. That he's being shown Jannah, he's being shown all of these gifts and these rewards. So it's at Sidratul Muntaha, it's narrated that Jibreel alayhi salam, he revealed himself in his actual form, in his true form. Ra'a Jibreel, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is narrating that Ra'a Jibreel inda sidra lahu sittu mi'a janahum minha qad sadda al-ufuq tatanatharu min ajnihatihi atahawil ad-dur wal-yaqut mimma lam ya'lamuhu illa Allah. That Jibreel alayhi salam had 600 wings, and when he opened one wing, all these rubies and diamonds came flowing out of his wing. And his wing, when he spread his wing, it covered the entire horizon, just one wing. But we know that most of the time, usually Jibreel alayhi salam, when he came down, he came in a human form. His face was resembling Dihya Kalbi, which was a very handsome companion. So he would. This is like more easy for him to the Prophet ﷺ to bear when he was coming down as a human form. There was these few occasions he actually witnessed him in his true form, and this is one of those in Sidratul Muntaha. Now, from the fountain of Kawthar, after this, the Prophet ﷺ proceeded forward. Now he's moving on now. Hatta إذا دخل الجنة, until he actually enters into paradise. فإذا فيها ما لا عين رأت. So he's trying to describe what he saw, but he's unable to describe exactly what he saw in Jannah to the companion. He said, in paradise, the Prophet ﷺ saw what no eyes had ever seen, وَلَا أُذُنٌ سَمِعَتْ, no ears have ever heard, وَلَا خَطَرَ عَلَى قَلْبِ بَشَرٍ, no heart could ever comprehend or imagine what Jannah looks like. You know, at the time of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they weren't what we have today. Today we have people like making pictures, making movies, making games, drawings, and people have created really beautiful scenes, especially like images people might take and videos of like mountains and all these things. It can be like edited to look even more beautiful. So we try to imagine the most beautiful scene we've ever seen with our own eyes, or we've seen in a video or picture, and Jannah is something far beyond that. Like even like وَلَا خَطَرَ عَلَى قَلْبِ بَشَرٍ, no heart could comprehend. Like people today have tried to like make the most beautiful scenery, but they've been making it according to what their heart and mind is thinking. But even that, like it's beyond any of that. Now finally, he's at the gate of Jannah now. So at the gate of Jannah, something very special was written. It was written, "As-sadaqatu bi'ashri amthaliha." Someone gives charity, the reward of that will be multiplied by 10 times. But then it's the bit after this which is quite amazing. وَالْقَرْضُ بِثَمَانِيَةِ عَشَرٍ, that when someone gives someone a loan, a qard, that the reward of that will be multiplied by 18 times. Imagine that. So then the Prophet ﷺ, he's saying to Jibreel alayhi salam that مَا بَالُ الْقَرْضِ أَفْضَلُ مِنَ الصَّدَقَةِ. I don't understand, why is the reward for giving someone a loan greater than giving charity? Because if you give someone a loan, you're going to get that money back. So Jibreel alayhi salam, he explained that someone who may be asking for something might already have something. Like they're asking for it and you're giving it to them. Like someone who takes charity, meaning someone who begs, someone who's putting his hand out, like, please give me this. Like generally, like not all the time, but especially in those days, those surroundings. And even we see this today, people who beg, sit on the street and beg, they're not always genuine. Like they already have something, but they pretend sometimes like they have nothing. And when you get in a habit of giving people things, then they just won't bother earning or trying for themselves. They just keep taking. Plus, you don't know what you're using it for. But someone who asks for qard, someone who asks for a loan, is generally someone who's trying to work hard to make their own earning, make their own living, but they've run into some hardship, unfortunately, and they may having to like sell their car or sell their clothes or their house or sell their jewelry, their furniture, or because they're struggling, they've had to move into a smaller home, they've had to really change their lifestyle. After all this, like nothing's working for them. So these people, after trying, after going the difficult, then they come to people and they say like, you know, very shyly, that I'm in this circumstance, I don't want to go in debt, I don't want to do anything wrong, like could you lend me some money? And many people, they're embarrassed to approach people, but then those type of people, they ask for a loan with the intention, I will pay you back, I will pay everything back to you. So they're not begging here. They're not asking for a handout. They're not asking like, give me this, I want money, I have nothing. It's a different type. This has more kind of izzah. And taking care of someone who's in that kind of situation, they're still working hard, they have a family to provide, they've not given up, they've not resorted to begging, they're not just telling everybody and going out saying, please give me money, I have nothing. No, they intend to give it back. Helping someone in those circumstances has greater reward, if that makes sense. Because if you just keep giving someone money, like those people who beg, in a way it's encouraging them to carry on with this bad habit. They say those who are begging on the street, don't give them money. Like, you try to advise them, see what the situation is, or give them food, give them water, give them a hot drink, give them clothing. Money, number one, it encourages them to continue their bad habit. And number two, you don't know where they're going to spend it. They might just end up, buying whatever bad things with it. And they can do that because they know they don't have to owe you anything back because you've gifted it to them. But by giving someone a loan, a qard, you're helping someone to find their way out of this difficulty which they're in, which they're trying their best to get out of. And also, why a loan can be more rewarding, you've given someone like £500 qard. One day they'll give you that back. Now you can use that again. You can do another loan, another qard. So that money, multiple times, you can keep getting the reward of helping somebody out. But if you've gifted someone £500, you won't get the chance to use that again. It's gone now. So from this, we understand, this is the understanding that, what I read upon, that, obviously not everybody who asks for money to be given to them is of begging. Of course, sometimes people, that doesn't mean we never give anybody money as a hadiyah. If we want to give someone some money, that's fine. But it's talking about those situations like, for example, we have in our community, there's people who have sought to take loans where they will have to pay back in interest. And this is quite common, and it's happening. But we as a Muslim community, the way it's meant to work, that we're meant to be helping those individuals. If we have money lying around in the bank, then if we all get together, that don't worry, if you don't go take a loan from the bank, we will help you, and you can pay us back without any interest, without any riba. And that way, the Muslims are benefiting, and at the same time, we're getting so much reward. So from this, we can understand the virtue of being a resource for the community. And it happens a lot that when we think, let me give sadaqah, I'll give a small amount because I know I'm not going to get this back. But when it comes to qard, I can give a larger amount because I know I'll get this back one day. And we see there's many charities who come to the masjid, they're raising money for a masjid in England and other parts of the world, or a madrasa, or like an orphanage, whatever it may be. And they say, please, we take sadaqah lillah, zakah, but we take qard hasana as well. These, as soon as we hear qard hasana, like, we definitely should be giving. And many of them are so flexible that like, we can give it you back in 2 years, 1 year. I've even seen places that say, we'll give it you back in 2 months. Like, why would we not give it if we know we're going to get it back in a few months? With the intention that on the gates of Jannah, in this night of Al-Israa Wal-Mi'raaj, it was written that there's 18 times more reward for giving qard. So we should really try get in the habit of this. If any of us have like just a few £1,000s lying around in the bank, or we know we're not going to need it for a year or two, we should definitely see, where can I invest this? There's so many masajid, and especially madaris, because of the rising costs of bills and things like this, it's so difficult for them to run, and they just need, for a few months, just need a few £100. They just need £1,000 or £2, which they'll give back in a few months, when they break even, and then people pay the rest of their fees for the rest of the year and things. And we need to try to reach out to these places. And now we know there's more virtue and there's more reward. So we ask, one individual told me, it's an amazing thing, that if someone is obviously lending somebody some money, they should actually be grateful to Allah. That, oh Allah, thank you for allowing me to be helpful and be a means to help other people, because it's only Allah that will give the tawfiq. There are people who have loads of money, but not many people are benefiting from that money, and they don't get the opportunity and the tawfiq to loan, to gift, to give qard. But there are people who will have less money, but so many people are benefiting from it, and it gives barakah, and we know there's no decrease in charity. So we have to make dua that, oh Allah, keep us in a position where I can help others, whatever it is, with my ilm, with my time, and with my money. And then we have to ask Allah that, oh Allah, please utilize me as a resource for the betterment of the community and the betterment of the Ummah, inshallah. Next Seerah lesson, we'll be speaking about what happens after this. He passes through Jannah, so many things he sees in Jannah, but after this he goes even higher, and this is where he finally meets with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Such an amazing part of the story. So once again, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to understand all of these advices and bring these advices into our life as well, inshallah. Ameen. Wa akhir da'wana and alhamdulillah rabbil alameen wa sallallahu ta'ala ala khayri khalqi Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Ameen. Ameen wa iyyak.